All right, let's get right into it. We're looking at what the consulting firm ZS is calling a major tipping point for the entire pharmaceutical industry. See, the old ways of bringing drugs to market, well, they're hitting a wall. And 2025 is really shaping up to be a year of massive change.
But let's start with the big question, the problem that's really forcing all this change. It's the one that I'm sure keeps pharma execs up at night. After you spend billions on R&D, why do so many new medicines end up falling short when they hit the market?
And the scale of this problem is, well, it's staggering. We're talking about roughly half. Yep, that's 1 out of every 2 new drug launches that just don't meet their financial expectations. I mean, can you imagine that in any other industry? It's basically a coin flip for success, and that's just not sustainable. And that leads to a pretty stark realization from industry leaders, which is captured perfectly in this quote from the ZS report. The cushion is gone. There is no margin for error anymore. Every single launch, every decision, it has to be executed flawlessly. The pressure is really on.
So, what's really behind all this pressure? Well, the industry is at a tipping point because the fundamental playbook that's been used for decades, it's officially broken.
For years and years, the model was pretty straightforward, right? You hire a huge sales force of reps, you focus all your messaging on the product's features, and you aim that message pretty much exclusively at the doctors writing the prescriptions. But that world, it's disappearing, and it's disappearing fast. So, what's the fix? What's the solution? To win today, companies have to completely shift how they think about a drug launch. It's no longer about just pushing a product out the door. It's about meticulously preparing the entire market for its arrival. And the difference is, well, it's night and day. We're moving from a game of sheer numbers, how many doctors can our reps possibly reach, to a much more strategic approach. The new playbook is all about shaping the market, using AI to drive decisions, and putting the customer at the absolute center of everything. So what exactly is this market-shaping thing? Think of it like preparing the soil before you plant a seed. It's all the work that's done before a drug is even approved. We're talking about educating on the disease, streamlining diagnosis, and just making sure the entire healthcare ecosystem is ready for the innovation that's about to come. And the engine that's powering this new personalized approach, you guessed it, it's artificial intelligence. AI is quickly moving from just being a buzzword to an absolutely essential tool that can help predict who the early adopters are going to be, identify gaps in care, and tailor messages to what individuals actually need. And you can literally see the impact in real time right here. This brand was having a really slow launch, but do you see that inflection point, that little bend in the curve? That's the moment an AI-driven strategy was put into place. It used data to constantly learn and adjust, and it just dramatically changed the growth trajectory. And the results were seriously significant. We're talking about a 3 times increase in prescriptions from healthcare providers and a 4 to 5 times jump in the number of new patients starting the therapy. This isn't theoretical. This is the concrete impact of an AI-powered personalized launch. Now, this new way of thinking, it goes way beyond just the launch. It requires a whole new playbook for how you engage with customers. The focus is shifting from a simple sales pitch to building a long-term, valuable relationship with absolutely everyone involved. And here's the reality of the situation. While doctors are technically just as available as they were before the pandemic, their willingness to actually meet with sales reps has plummeted. It's near historic lows. So that old reach and frequency model, it just can't work if the customer doesn't even want to engage with you that way. So what do they want? This piece of data right here is absolutely crucial. Doctors are twice as interested in reps who bring practical knowledge about how a drug actually fits into their specific practice than they are in just hearing generic product messaging. They want a problem solver, not just a walking, talking brochure. And of course, the customer isn't just the doctor. There's this huge perception gap when it comes to patients. In countries all around the world, patients consistently rate their healthcare experience as far worse than their physicians believe it is, and that creates a massive point of friction in the system. So the crucial question is, how do you fix it? Well, the answer seems to be personalization. By using data to create tailored patient support programs, one company saw a more than 20-fold reduction in patients who get a prescription but then never actually start the therapy. It's all about meeting them where they are and removing those barriers. Now, to make all this happen, the change can't just be external. Pharma companies have to fundamentally retool their own engines from the inside out. They have to become smarter, more efficient, and more integrated organizations. A huge part of this is managing the company's finances, especially this concept called gross to net, or GTN. To put it simply, it's the giant gap between a drug's official list price and the much, much smaller amount of money a company actually gets to keep after all the discounts and rebates get paid out.
You can see this whole strategy in action right here. Drug 1, it launched into a crowded field and it just couldn't stand out, so its GTN gap exploded as it had to give away more and more in discounts. But Drug 2 launched as a first-in-class treatment and kept innovating. Its value was crystal clear, and that allowed it to protect its revenue with a much smaller GTN gap.
And operationally, companies are moving away from the old way of thinking, where each brand team worked in its own little silo. The future is a unified customer strategy where all customer data is centralized. This creates a single, holistic plan that works across the entire company portfolio. It just makes sense. So where does this all lead? What comes next? Well, the next great leap for the industry is a really profound shift in perspective, moving from just understanding what your customers do to truly understanding why they do it. And this is the framework for that future. It's called the context wheel. It's all about building a living 360-degree view of a customer by combining all sorts of data, from their digital presence and their clinical trial engagement, all the way to their practice dynamics and even their personal beliefs. And this quote just captures the essence of it all, doesn't it? Knowing what someone does, that's useful for targeting. But knowing why they do it, really understanding their motivations and their barriers, that's what allows you to be truly relevant and helpful. And that is the real game changer. So as we wrap this up, the big takeaway is this. The next major breakthrough in medicine probably isn't just going to be a scientific discovery in a lab. It's going to be the creation of an entirely new commercial model that's built around the customer. So the real question is, after decades of doing things one way, is the industry truly ready to build it?